talk, Valentina.
Hi guys, this is Rati,
And this is Marcy.
and this is Talk Valentina, a podcast by Fluid Magazine, and this is our first episode.
Yes, we're a little bit nervous. So if you
We
can
are.
tell and we're acting shy, it's
Mm.
because we are. It's also, Rati isn't really present online. He doesn't do many things where he's on camera.
Yeah, I'm never in front of like camera recording myself, so it's a bit unnatural, but it's fine. Like this is our first episode, and yeah, it's gonna be a little awkward, but I think with time it's gonna get better. So
Yeah, it's just a tiny bit scary, but let's
yeah.
trust the process. We're like the weirdest online friends to exist because we only have like voice calls. We never really had FaceTimes because one of
Because
us
of
is really
me.
shy.
It used to be because of that. I don't know if it's just like I just am not a call person in
Mm.
general. And with my friends, I basically never call them. I mean, my friends that don't live overseas. I mean, for a little bit of context, we basically met online almost like I don't even know how many years ago, but
You
almost
were you were
today.
saying actually that today is like the 5th year anniversary or something, isn't it?
Yeah,
Which
it
is
has to
crazy
be.
too.
Because like we are recording this on the 28th of March, and I literally vividly remember that my account on Everskies, that's where we met, says like it's my mom's birthday also. That's why I remember so vividly. And I know that like that's when I created the account. So, and we met probably really quickly after I created my account. It was like either that day or day after or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is like a full circle moment for us, which is kind of crazy.
So, long story short, it took us 5 years to have a proper FaceTime.
Yeah. We had it only once in our lifetime. Like that's kind of
I
crazy.
think so, and I was low-key pressuring you to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than one of us being shy slash not that present on social media, I'm also autistic. So it doesn't make things much easier. But
Yeah.
yeah.
We are just gonna start by like introducing ourselves, talk a little bit about our project, the Fluid Magazine, how it started, how it's going. Yeah, I guess that would be like a good intro. Do you want to start?
I was actually gonna throw it back at you and be like, okay, so
Oh,
who are you? But yeah, I
okay.
can go first.
Who are you? You're so mysterious.
I'm Marcy. I currently live in London, but I'm Polish, so we're both Eastern European, just from um, slightly different parts of the continent. um, I study psychology, technically at a fashion uni, so it's applied to fashion. But yeah, I'm currently studying science and about to graduate. I'm working on my dissertation right now.
Yeah. Do I go now? I'm Rati. I just turned 22 this month. Um, I'm an architecture student. I study architecture. I think that's like mostly what my life is mostly consumed by that. I'm also like in school, but I'm on the third year, so no dissertation this year, next year.
We're
So
technically both in the third year, even though I'm older, but also your program is a bit longer
yeah, my
than
program is four
mine.
years. So
So yeah, I for our magazine, because if you guys don't know, we do have a online magazine. This is how this whole thing came to life. Basically, I'm kind of like usually the writer slash more of like creative direction, and
mm,
Ratu was most of the time very visual focused, but we kind of split the chores in the household
yeah.
evenly. I would say we just have a
Mm,
bit of a different focus.
yeah. I feel like with small projects, it's always like that. Like we did so many things, and we have talked about how like this literally gave us skills that I don't know like what you can do to actually get those skills, because it's like
Yeah.
such like random things, from like reaching out to like strangers for collaboration, or like literally like planning a whole shoot, or like styling people,
Mm.
especially like we've styled like bunch of our friends at this point. I think like there's none left that we haven't styled in our friend group.
Yeah, all of our
Um,
closest friends basically have been involved in the project at some point in some way or another. And it was like a very communal thing because honestly, our social media platforms are not that big. Um,
yeah.
but it was really such a community at some point, and we had a lot of
Mhm.
people passionately involved into something that's technically very small, but I think it's really cool.
I think it's still almost like that. And I don't know, like, I think we need to mention that this magazine, the project, is actually like fully non-commercial.
Mm.
And the only time that we could make it commercial was just like when we launched our first edition of the print. But even then, like we decided to only like the magazine would only cost the amount that you would need for printing. So it was just like print on demand basically type of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have no profit from it as of now, but
Mm.
maybe that's gonna change soon. But yeah, like it is a very small magazine.
It's very cool that we were able to do so many things for it with technically such a small audience, because we
Yeah.
did really. It was created about 3 years ago,
Mm.
and there are slower and faster periods. I mean, for about a year ish for me, it was really like a kind of a full time job.
Mm.
I was
Yeah.
very focused on it.
Even yeah, even more for you because you were doing much more because I was in school and Marcy
Yeah.
was having like yeah, a gap year basically, like almost. And yeah, it was even more like intense for Marcy, but also for me, like the work that I do at uni and work that I do for Fluid Magazine in some ways do like correlate.
Like they overlap a little bit.
Yeah, they overlap in many ways that like you need to be constantly looking at like graphic stuff and like developing ideas constantly and like creating identities, which was like mainly the job that I was doing for the magazine.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I feel like it was also pretty intense for me as well, because like I had to do the same amount of stuff that people on my course were doing, but like double that amount almost.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like quite a lot. And it's like it always makes me so proud because like we literally did that for fun, like literally. Like there was
Yeah.
no other profit than like getting like really like big amount of support, which is also incredibly like we're incredibly lucky to somehow like have that community.
Mm.
Um but we also took a like almost like 1 year break as well.
We did. Yeah, when
Yeah.
I started university, I moved countries and it became a bit different. And now also it took on a different shape than it had before.
Yeah.
We're not as intense about it.
Mm. Probably for the good. And I mean,
Mm.
as like it's evolving, I don't think we had like very intense routine. Like it was posting every week, if
My
not more.
autism was really like doing
Mhm.
rounds on that one.
Yeah, same. It was quite a lot. Like it's obviously technically it's not even like a sustainable practice really if there are only like two people in the
Mm.
magazine. So like yeah, it like the format is pretty different from what it was now, and now like this would also be considered as like part of the magazine, I guess. Um, so yeah, it's like evolving and changing, but like honestly for the good, I think.
I'm going through changes. Do you want to talk about how everything we make starts as a joke? The thing is basically that I don't even think we've known each other for that long when the idea for the magazine came about.
Mm.
And we were also just online friends as well. Like, haven't we? we've never met each other in person, is that
No,
correct? Which is
it is.
also really crazy. But we grew so close over like the 2-ish years of our relationship that it felt natural somehow and normal to do that. We actually only met for the first time about um like a year or a couple of months into making fluid, I want to say. I think sometimes I have trouble picking up on sarcasm, not to bring my neurodivergence into everything, but we were texting and Rati, I had friends who had a literary magazine, like a prose and writing focused one, and I kept submitting my work for it because what I mainly did for our magazine as well in the beginning was writing, because I wrote naturally, but I just wanted like an outlet or a place to publish my things in. And I just couldn't get into their publication. Like I think I tried 2 or 3 times, and I was getting frustrated and complaining to Rati about it. And then he said, we should just make our own magazine and we're gonna publish your things. And I, being like, I think final year of high school at that point, or like about to graduate, obviously kind of stressed with work, I took it very seriously.
But I think like,
I borderline thought you were serious. I think it was kind of me not picking up on the joke, basically.
but I was trying to interrupt with that and say that like I don't think it was also like fully a joke on my
Mm.
part as well. Like maybe you did pick it up as more serious, but like I also implied that like it was an actual possibility that we could like have, you know? Um, so yeah. And then the podcast, I think it's like literally within like I don't think we've actively talked about like podcast for like an extended period of time. I
Mm.
think it happened also rather kind of quickly.
It was sort of like impulsive-ish, I guess. But it's
Hmm.
more that I think what's really nice about our relationship is that we genuinely, like, we're both really creative people, and if we have an idea, we just sort of run with it, which
Yeah.
um I think in the beginning I was more that way than you were, and I would kind of
Hmm.
like really push you to your limits in a sense, but more like positively than not. Because
Hmm.
yeah, I also do take things at face value. Like I,
Yeah.
if you tell me that something's happening, I'm gonna think it's
Hmm.
happening and it better.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You can
that's
literally witness it right now. This is like me pushing my limits as well.
with your tea, and it's
With
like the
my
most
tea.
chill thing ever.
Yeah.
No, it is. I think we're both kind of out of our comfort zones, to be fair. I think I'm really at this point like used to talking to the camera by myself,
Hmm.
and technically having someone to like, um, bounce off of.
Hmm.
That's the phrase. Should
Yeah.
make it easier, but I think it's
Hmm.
we don't do this, so it doesn't feel like completely normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also my dad used to joke about, not really joke. I think he like seriously was
Hmm.
saying that we should have a podcast. And the funny part
Hmm.
is that he does not remember that.
Yeah.
And he did tell me for about a year, if not longer, repeatedly that we should do it. And because he was really fascinated by the fact that we come from different countries and
Hmm.
technically have different like backgrounds and native languages and everything. Like we get to see each other maybe once a year, and that's generous as well. And we
Yeah.
still have this very like strong bond, and we've done a lot of things together.
True. It's also interesting because for you, I think you've been always more like you always were listening to like certain podcasts way before that I
Mm.
was interested in podcasts because like I really enjoy like long form media. I think even recently, like even more than I used to. We both really do. Like we would always prefer long format videos rather than like short
Mm-hmm.
reels or like TikToks, whatever.
Yes.
Um, but I was never somehow like my main source of that would be like video diaries or like just people sitting not people, like a person sitting down and talking about like certain things, maybe
Mm.
fashion related, maybe architecture related, design related, but it was never like podcast. And it's so interesting because I think it hasn't even been more than like 2 years that I actively started listening to podcasts. And it was also like suggested by Marcy because I think I had to start from emergency intercom. Also
Oh
like
yeah, if you
November.
don't know, I'm like emergency intercom boots down. Like I've been there
Yeah.
since the first episode when they had 500 subscribers. So yeah, I was really like at some point die hard for it.
Mhm. Yeah. And I guess like I obviously had to catch up very late. Um, so like I wouldn't say I know as much of the lore, I think. But I really enjoy like though like for me I think I usually prefer podcasts that are a little bit more chill most of
Mm.
the time. Though like I always appreciate like when you need a good laugh, like emergency intercom, obviously.
There,
Um,
yeah, there is a really good episode that just came out.
yeah, we both watched it today, I think.
So yeah,
Uh,
as far as because we were supposed to talk about our reference points, so that's definitely a really big one. And what else? I have some Polish podcasts
mhm.
that I enjoy. You really liked Emma Chamberlain for a long time, right?
Mm. Yeah, I did, but it was like I wonder because I don't remember when the podcast thing started for her because I think it was way later than like her videos, and I would
Mm,
mostly watch her YouTube vlogs. Um, I wouldn't say I'm really actively listening to her anymore. I tend to
yeah.
like listen to pretty niche stuff at this point. It's like very architecture related, just the stuff that I like listen to within like the same vibe as like people just having a conversation. I think my reference point would be Grown Kid. Like I recently came across it literally from like watching something on YouTube and then it kind of like showed up. Um, and I think like it's definitely comparable in terms of the genre to Emergency Intercom to some extent, but I think it's like less humor and more like we're talking about a topic today.
Yeah, they do have like a, a topic basically.
Yeah, yeah. And within that, like within an episode, they are discussing a very specific topic, and it's just like one topic. So it's like it's different how they're structured, basically. And I guess like we were talking about it yesterday, how we want to structure our podcast, and somehow we think that like having both of those worlds would be like the ideal for us, because I don't think we want to record like video essays and sharing our opinions on like very specific topics. Like we want to have space where we can just have a conversation or like whatever, a laugh even.
Mm.
So yeah.
Also, this is maybe like a good place for a plugin. So, do you want your social media to be out there? Like, do you want your handle in the
Yeah,
description?
sure. It's like I mean in Georgian it's Vermovi Pikre.
Basically, I'll put our things in the description
Hmm.
because I also kind of do TikTok
Yeah.
and YouTube.
I mean, yeah, I post like photo dumps
Mm.
like twice, not even twice, I think once a month or
So,
like
if you
once a
can't tell, one of us has two TikTok accounts and a YouTube channel. The other one does that. There is
yeah.
like a clear difference in terms of that, but
Hmm.
I don't think that should be an issue.
Yeah.
Basically, the idea is kind of like a fashion culture, but mainly fashion, because what we connected over, even like Everscape is a dress up game. So
Yeah.
literally the first things we had in common other than maybe like astrology was
Hmm.
fashion. And we always talk about it like Ratty is my go-to person to talk about a fashion
Hmm.
show whenever I like
Same with
something.
Marcy. Hmm.
And like trends and brands. So we want to like use this space to sort of be giving each other and you guys at the same time like a rundown of whatever's interesting to us. at the
Mm.
moment. So like that's basically the concept. And also like a catch up, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, my first point is the Chloe show. I think it was I always forget the seasons and I don't want to butcher it, but basically the most recent one, I think it would be fall winter
Yeah.
26. Yeah. Mm,
Because I think they already had spring summer.
yeah. So because it's always like a season ahead. So at first I kind of thought it was ugly, honestly. Like the beginning of
Really?
watching the actual runway show, I was like,
Mm.
what the hell is that?
Mm.
I think it was kind of supposed to be that way, and that beginning is more like 80s inspired, and it's kind of crazy. But there's, as it progressed, some of the looks actually were making me emotional. Like there's these monochromatic ones and ones with fur, and
Mm.
like if you know Chloe, you know the vibe. Like I
Mhm.
just, it's very like I always feel cringy using the word boho, but it's basically the
Mm.
definition of that in like a good taste sense, in my opinion, and it's
Mhm.
just great. And the hair and makeup was
Yeah, the
amazing, like
hair.
insane. I think the
Hmm.
really big, puffy, crazy hair is kind of a trend right now, at least in like the high fashion sphere environment, whatever.
Yeah. I think like 80s is like a very huge theme for this season's like
Mm.
fashion for like different houses. I think there's like that sort of vibe going on, which is interesting because on the other hand, like people who are like living day to day and are just interested in fashion is like very much 2010s, I think, right now.
Mm.
And it's like interesting to see that opposition. But like I mean like Chloe does have like a very certain aesthetic that it sticks to. So it's also probably not the like it's not right to say that everyone is sort of interested in that era. I think Chloe
Mm.
just has a very like specific vision right now.
Yeah, but even if you think about it, like what we're wearing right now is more like if we look at the runways, what we see as like supposed to be the next season. So I think the trends haven't
Mhm.
necessarily caught up to that
Yeah,
yet.
that's also
So
true.
we're like still,
Mhm.
we're behind compared to
We're
like
catching up.
OG on a
Hmm.
runway. And like in the context of that, I also wanted to mention that I always used to be sort of like a Chanel, Dior, and all these classic designer houses hater. Like when we
Hmm.
started being friends as a teenager, I really just wanted to be not like the other girls, and I thought it was really bad. But I think also something about moving here, and also observing people like just more diverse fashion living in such a big city, I realized that I actually fuck with it. So,
I think it's also like I don't think you were really trying to be like different. I mean, obviously, like as a teenager, everyone is sort of like in that like rebel kind of vibe. But at the
mm,
same time, I think it's like you kind of have to mature enough to like certain brands. I was thinking about how with that, I think the brand that we were both like really obsessed with at the time when we started talking was like Heaven by Marc Jacobs. Like we
oh
would
yeah.
always talk about it. And I don't think recently we've had like a single conversation about it. And it's not
Mm,
because we dislike what they're making, like Marc Jacobs is definitely up there in our lists, but I think it's like each like brand has sort of like a very specific target audience, and I don't think like Chanel or like Dior would be like any like targeted at any teenager really. So yeah, like I think it's something that comes kind of naturally as well. Like I think the brands that we do really like now is like kind of really different from what we liked even like
mm.
few years ago.
Maturing is realizing that actually Chanel eats sometimes.
Hmm. Also, I wouldn't say like super on the same page because like I think there's like there is difference in what we tend to like in terms of fashion. There's obviously like overlap and a big amount of overlap, but at the same time, like I wouldn't be as interested in Chanel or Chloe
Mm.
personally, but I can obviously appreciate what they're producing.
Yeah, I think, yeah, there's definitely still differences. even there always has been. To
Hmm.
some people, it might seem like we're like the same person, even aesthetically. Sometimes,
Yeah.
like we've gotten that from people, but it's
Hmm.
not actually the case when you get like down to the nitty
I
gritty.
think even earlier, I think it was even more noticeable. Right now, I think we kind of have developed a more personal that is a little more distinct from each other,
Mm.
I think. Or maybe that's just how I perceive this, but and maybe from other person it's not the same, but yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I think there was a point where we were really like in line with each other around the
Yeah.
time when we were starting Fluid, and
Hmm.
yeah, we branched out maybe.
Hmm. Well, there's still a lot of overlap. That's like crazy to deny that. Like there is just a huge similarity in what we like and
Mm.
yeah, I guess like for the contrast, my favorite this season would be okay, I'm gonna butcher this name like 10 times. It's Anne de Mulamista, something like that.
We try, okay. I
We yeah,
also
we are trying. Something that I need you guys need to know when it comes to like my fashion taste is that and I'm gonna talk about this later as well, is that I tend to enjoy like concepts over like actual garments and clothes. And Marcy's, since she is coming from like more of a fashion background and she's like at a fashion uni, obviously I think she is more interested in the garment itself.
mm,
And I'm saying this because I'm talking about campaign and not really the runway, though it's like obviously part of it. If you don't know, the brand is fully like they never do commercial shootings, editorial shootings. And this was basically their first time doing that, and at the same time opening a store, which is like kind of huge for the brand that has never done that before.
mm,
Um, though I wanted to say that it's so interesting to see how like a brand that like we almost have like the same approach. The work that we produce is so non-commercial,
mm,
basically. Though I guess it can look somewhat commercial because we are talking about certain projects, and maybe when you go to our page, you're gonna think that like we got paid or something, but no, not really. And it's
manifesting, putting that out
manifesting.
into the universe.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about how, like, in a world that currently feels so commercial, it's so refreshing to see that like a brand is taking a very non-commercial approach. And I think like people are even more attracted to that because like every brand is obviously has like a TikTok account. They're gonna post like 10 ads a day.
Mm,
Just have this very intense campaigns. And to see a brand that like really still somehow has this like sets of morals or like whatever principles that they don't sort of like step over. It's so refreshing to see that. And I think it like genuinely attracts more people just by being genuine.
oh, I like the campaign. I don't remember it super vividly, but there's something so like minimalistic about it. It feels really good.
Another thing that I could talk about within the same topic, because I said that like I'm really into identities rather than garments. As I said, I had a birthday this month. I was like trying to get myself a gift for my birthday with that money. And I was just like, obviously, I started looking at like my favorite brands. And I think a brand that is in our top three at the moment for both of us would be Paloma Wool.
Mm,
Um, and an interesting thing was, and this has happened for the second time, and Marcelina asked like a very interesting question that we can discuss later, is that I love the brand, I love their vision and everything that they produce as a brand. And then like I go to their like shop online to like buy stuff, and I this has happened for the second time, so like this is kind of what made me think about this, that I never tend to like something enough to actually get it,
mm,
which is so interesting because like a brand that is in your like top three, you must think that like I'm gonna go to the store and if I had enough money I would just like buy everything that they have, but like it's not really the case for me. Like It's so interesting. And Marcelina asked a question that does that mean that they're doing a good job or a bad job? And I think you could like talk about that and what you mean
Yeah,
by
it is
that.
very, because does that mean that they're basically building an aesthetic and it's very
Mm-hmm.
so like aspirational that
Mm-hmm.
maybe an average person, like maybe it's something about how I live here and I'm constantly in this like very urban environment. Like I go to these cool places, I go to a certain university which
Mm-hmm.
allows me to be maybe more expressive than an average person.
Mm-hmm.
Although Paloma still is like technically very minimalistic, but yeah, I think there's something more like suitable for a city and also a certain kind of climate, even because their clothes are not necessarily like that cold weather appropriate. So, yeah, maybe for a person living in Eastern Europe, like you are,
So they
really,
do have like lots of needs though, like lots
I
of actual
guess.
wool. Like the stuff that I was looking at was like long sleeve wool stuff,
Mm,
mostly or like knits. And then like I think it's really weird because like I don't have an answer to this, like why that keeps happening. Um, One thing is that, like, I think if you are really into the vision and not specifically, because I think what Paloma is doing is that they're doing like an amazing job at creating a look, like all together. And
mm,
then within, it's not that you are like really, you don't gravitate towards a specific piece, but the whole look and the vibe. And I think for me, even in my closet, I think my closet is kind of inspired by Paloma. Like wool is like one of the like even I look at my clothing rack and it's like five of those things are like
mm.
wool and like knits. Um, I think the thing is that Paloma, like having a Paloma look or like whatever, is like kind of easy even if you go thrifting, and you don't really necessarily have to buy Paloma to almost have that like look or like aesthetic
Yeah.
almost. And when I do go to Paloma, nothing is like super out there that I would get, even though like I don't mind anything. Like it's not really about the climate. It's not really like I'm really also open to wearing anything. Like it doesn't really matter. So it's like just a very interesting contradiction for me that I
Mm.
really like the brand and then like I can't really get anything from their shop. That's kind of odd.
Maybe it's honestly like the price point because I feel like
Mm,
honestly I know you pretty well and I know your shopping
yeah.
habits to like a large extent and I
Mm,
know that you're not the kind of person like we both have a lot of vintage clothing slash secondhand
mm,
and I think maybe for that amount of money you would just rather get yourself a piece that's like kind of a statement piece or something that
mm.
will stand out more versus
Yeah.
like these basic like 90s inspired or like 2000s looking pieces you feel like you could easily thrift that. Like I'm pretty sure you've told me that
Hmm.
before a couple of times.
Yeah.
And yeah, I also feel like maybe that aesthetic right now is kind of becoming like a stereotype almost.
Mm,
But like maybe we got like a bit oversaturated with that kind of look. Although,
mm.
like to me, I don't think Paloma will ever fall off or anything.
Yeah, no, me
But
neither.
to some extent, it might be like how Miu Miu was so vastly popular,
Mm,
like right at the end of pandemic and right after. There was that moment when everyone like was into a certain type of look, the bows and like a very girlish, like preppy look.
mm.
And I think maybe, yeah, maybe there was too much of the same thing, sort of.
I
And
yeah, I don't think Paloma has reached the like I think within like a fashion community, people who are interested in fashion, I think it definitely has hate like very large masses of people, but I don't think like it reached the same amount of mass of people as like Miu Miu did.
mm,
Like I would consider it still as like a not super well-known brand. Like if you ask an average person, I don't think they're gonna know a lot about the brand at all.
mm,
And with Miu Miu, I mean Miu Miu just has like a huge history also. Like it's yeah, everyone
yeah,
would
it comes
know.
from Prada. But
Yeah.
I just mean more in terms of like the look itself, other than
Mm,
like Paloma Wool is not a
yeah.
household name.
Hmm.
no question. But
Hmm.
you could definitely find things at fast fashion stores that were directly, taken from that trend or that, like that visual aesthetic.
Yeah, I agree. It's like highly thriftable, to be honest. Some of the stuff, like I
That's
think.
too. So,
Yeah. So yeah, but I also don't mind like I wouldn't say my closet is like super out there in
mm,
terms of like I would expect something like extraordinary within that same price range. Like I have
fabulous.
gotten, yeah, I can really just like splurge on like a good like cashmere sweater or like something very
Mm.
minimalistic. But yeah, I don't know, it's just interesting. To ask that question, does that mean like they're doing a good job or a bad job? And I don't think there's like a very clear answer to that, but yeah, I think it's interesting that it's also something very personal. I don't think a lot of people are experiencing the same thing. Like I don't think you're experiencing the same thing because you have like two
No, I
Paloma
own some
pieces.
Paloma pieces and I've
Yeah,
definitely like worn them down a little
yeah.
bit. Yeah. So another thing that I'm passionate about, which is not directly maybe connected to clothes, but I consider it like a fashion related area, is fragrance. I
Mm,
really, really like perfume. And I was wondering because I think you already have the answer to this. And when I came up with the
mm,
prompt, you didn't. But
yeah.
maybe we could talk about what we want to smell like in spring. I
Mm,
really love getting little perfume samples or trying new things when
mm,
the seasons are changing and when I'm traveling, for example. And I like the specific times to have different smells in my memory. So I find that really exciting.
mm. I think like I don't have as much of like knowledge in terms of perfume as Marcy does. I think she is very into it. And I think I'm just like very intuitive about it. And I
Mm.
just like whatever I like. Just like going to like random malls. Even in my hometown or in Tbilisi and like picking I mean they have like brands like whatever common brands, but it's also not that I'm going to like super niche perfume store to like buy stuff. um, yeah, me and my mom, like when I went to my hometown, we were like browsing through stores and just like testing different perfumes for her and me. Oh, did I tell you this? She literally got a Chloe perfume. I don't know what
Oh,
it was, but she is a Chloe girl as well. I wouldn't say this is very spring scent that I got. I think I tend to kind of like don't care about that. For winter, basically, I wore Noir 29. And the main tones that I think were very prominent to me was fig, bay leaf, and hay, as
bay
well as
leaf is
musk.
so interesting. Like you're
Yeah,
making me want to smell that one because I
it's
don't
really
think I ever
good.
have.
Um,
Mm.
yeah, it is really good. There are like within perfumes, there are specific things that I do tend to gravitate towards, and I didn't even know like before. Because
Mm.
I think Marcy was the first person who like showed me the Fragrantica website, and then I went to like see the notes because I had no idea. But it seems to me that I really enjoy tea tones,
Mm.
as well as fig is like definitely my favorite. Some type of citrus is always there. Though like I don't like smells that are very citrusy, like not
Mm.
my vibe. And musk is always there, and somehow with the perfume that I got also has cedar, that also my old perfume had. So for the spring, I will probably mostly be wearing Declaration by Cartier. It's like very interesting. I literally have it on. I'm like, God, I've never smelled anything like that before. And Le Labo is like, I think even more expensive than this was. I don't remember. So it's like, also, I think it should be like a better, just a better perfume line in general. But I've literally never smelled anything as like complex and kind of also intense as this. Um, it had like 10,000 notes as well. It
Yeah,
has tea.
so it makes sense that it would be a complex fragrance because there's like everything in it.
Because like when I smell it, I don't think I can like pinpoint to like a specific note. I think it's like there's some spices in it for sure. Like the I can like explain it as a feeling, and it I told Marcy and also my family members kind of said this. It almost smells like a cathedral when they
Mm.
have like bunch of like flowers, like some type of white florals.
Is a perfume by a brand Clue that's called Dandelion Batter, and it's
Mm,
literally very straightforward. I'm pretty sure what the name says. Like it's butter and dandelion, and I feel
mm,
like that's almost like when I think about that, it's more maybe like summer actually, but it definitely feels more springtime summer, and I really want to get a sample of that. I've never smelled it, but the idea of it reminds me of like a hot, like a day when it's, you know, it's May and it's already getting
mhm,
warmer and like you're out in the sun or like in the field. I think that sounds
mhm,
really good. And from what I've seen online, it is pretty straightforward. It basically smells like what the notes are,
mhm.
but it's cool. And also like butter notes are not that common.
Yeah. And I think I remember you liking a milk tone, like milk fragrance. And
I do like
yeah.
lactonic stuff, but
Mhm.
butter is almost like, I think the closest to that I've gotten is that I have a perfume that has like a pastry note, but
Mm,
that's still a bit different.
mhm,
Yeah, it's sap. Oh, I didn't realize that. Sap, dandelion, batter, pollen, and skin. So it's basically
oh,
like you're out in the field or like in the
mm,
forest, there's dandelions, and like you're probably out in the sun. Like it sounds really good.
mhm.
There is a Glossier perfume. It's called Eau Fleur,
Oh yeah,
the
I've heard them
French.
say. Mhm,
It's like it's like a lavender bottle. I have a. I'm not gonna show it, but like it's
mm,
basically the pale purple, like violet one, and it has an apricot note and some flower notes mainly,
mhm,
but it's very beautiful. And also the base of like the regular Glossier U stuff. So it's ambroxan and like musk. Musk
mm,
is the note. Um, yeah, I had it last year. It's very beautiful and it reminds me of summer too. I think I'm like trying to evoke the warm weather feeling because I'm really
mm.
excited for it to finally be more than 10
Yeah.
degrees consistently. And also, I live in London, so you know how the
Mm,
weather is.
yeah.
Yeah. So these were our, I don't know, maybe someone got a recommendation from that.
Mhm. Maybe.
Okay, I think that would be kind of it for today.
Mm,
We're definitely not running out of topics, but maybe running out of energy a little bit.
yeah.
So I think that was a good first practice run.